Good evening, everyone, and warm welcome to the seminar, an interactive session on the scope of engineering education and branches after COVID-19 pandemic. So this session is actually organized by Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology, Palakkad, and all the participants will be given certificate. And I am in touch with all of you through WhatsApp. So as I have informed you, we'll be issuing a certificate to the participants who request for that. And my name is Bindu. I am from Ahalia Group. And our resource person today is Dr. Sreemahadevan Pillai, director of our group and dean of the University of Calicut. He'll be leading the session. He's also the principal of Ahalia School of Engineering and Technology. And now it is over to you, sir. Before that, since we are also issuing the certificate, I would request all of you have participated in today's session to ping me on WhatsApp so that I can send your certificate to you, because I don't want to send the certificate to people who have registered and not participated. So just to make sure that you have participated, just ping me on WhatsApp and I will send across your certificate after the session. So thank you for joining with us for the session. And now over to you, sir.
Thank you, Bindu. So good afternoon to all of you again. As she has told, the topic for today's discussion is engineering education, its scope after COVID, and what are the impact it's going to have on the different branches of engineering. I think all of you can hear me, no? You're all hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Does your toilet have a weak flush? Check if the water level in your tank is set below the manufacturer's water line. If it is,
Anybody is not. Now you can mute all other. You can mute all other connect. So that she will. If anybody cannot listen, please, you cannot hear me properly, you can send a message to Bindu, she will correct it. If it's by muting from your own device, please check that your device, it is unmuted properly so that you can listen what I'm saying and you can see the video. Now let's coming to the topic. COVID is now all over the world. I would like to divide the impact of COVID into three durations: the short term, the medium term, and the long term. Yesterday I was thinking a bit about how the distribution of this COVID and its impact is going to be. Those of you who have studied mathematics, I can simply say that only the distribution pattern can be changed by the lockdown which is happening now in the country. For example, if there is no lockdown at all, it would have followed, the COVID spread would have followed a left skewed beta distribution. If a minimal lockdown is there, as in some of the Western countries, it would have formed a, say, a normal distribution curve. In India, we have gone for further delaying, and I expect that in India, it's going to be a rightward skewed beta distribution. I'm not going to much of the mathematics behind it, but I can simply say that in countries which have gone for more lockdown periods, the death toll will be more at a later stage. Whereas in the countries where the restrictions were minimum, the lockdown was minimum, the death toll will be more in the first few months. So I expect that this is going to exist in its severe form for some more months, maybe around 6 months. So let us take that as the short-term period. Because within 6 months, no medicine nor vaccine can come up. Because the testing period of a vaccine is almost 1 year, and the testing period of a medicine is around 3 months. So that's why I presume that within 6 months, the COVID is going to reign as it is today. So let us take that as a short period. In these 6 months, many countries may go for 2 weeks to around 8 weeks of lockdown, as based upon their present situation. But in this 6 months, we have to live along with the COVID as such. If at all any medicine is going to come, let's say by the end of this year, it may come. So another 2 or 3 more years is what I see as the medium term. 2 or 3 years means this will be totally wiped out. Like we had the Spanish flu or the smallpox in the past, it will have its own tenure till it is wiped out. That period is maybe around 2 to 3 years. Then there's a long term, because the people who have witnessed this event, who have seen this going through, and they cannot change their mindset immediately. So in the long term period means after 2 or 3 years, there will be some considerable behavior changes in the people, which is caused due to this impact, which is happening right now. That is the long term. That may continue for a long period, like the after days of the war. It may continue even for a decade or 2. That's what I presume. Why I'm dividing this into 3 terms like this, I just want to discuss about what are the impacts of education, impact on the education of country and all over, and especially in the state of Kerala, where from most of the participants are there, in the first duration, that is 6 months period short term, as well as in the next midterm, maybe 2 to 3 years, and then the long term in our lifetime, how it's going to affect. Let us start with the immediate vicinity period, that's a short term. In the next 6 months, we are all concerned about how to have the examinations, how to have the existing courses run, and how to have the admissions, and how to have the planning for completion of the academic requirements. All these are things which we have to plan for it. And I'll be focusing mostly on engineering education, because we have defined the engineering education as a topic for the day, its scope and the impact on engineering education, and then what are the impact on different branches also. For example, which branch will be more preferred in this time of pandemic, or which branch will not be preferred in this time of pandemic. For example, yesterday, I was having a discussion with some of my alumni who are working in different countries in the world. Some of them are working in electronics field, some of them are working in say logistic and supply chain management, some of them are working in IT. So I discussed with them what is the impact of these things in the country where they are working, and what they presume as the impact that is going to be in India. Some of the interesting information which I collected from them, I'll be sharing with you when I'm discussing this matter. And to inform you that I'll be taking around 30 minutes in the first, slot of this session, and after that we will let it open, say for half an hour discussion on giving your opinion, asking your questions and all. Then I'll come back to it. And of course, the finishing time we are not defining now. Maybe within 1 hour to 1.5 hours, we expect to finish this session. That's what I expect. And now let us see what is our immediate requirement, how the portions should be completed of the courses which are running right now. I know there are students in this group, there are school students, there are teachers, there are engineering college teachers, there are parents. Maybe each area which I touch upon may be of specific interest to some group. So if one area I'm discussing is not of interest to you, you can just forgive. Another area which I discuss will be of interest to you. So for example, about the courses which are running now, the school students may have no interest because it is engineering degree course. How it's running is a different thing. Right now, the UGC guidelines have come. The universities are supposed to give the guidelines. And what happened in all over the country, and especially in Kerala, almost half the portions of the current semester were over. And in some of the institutions, the examinations were over, and some of the institutions, the examinations are yet to be over. Even the first series examinations are yet to be over. And one of our difficulties, university has been saying that you please conduct online classes. We have conducted online classes for the last 2 months almost. The difficulty with the online classes is that the teachers are almost equipped. There is a comment coming now. Could anyone hear the host? You cannot hear me? Please, Bindu, please check. Everything is unmuted from our side. There are some comments coming. They can't hear.
You can hear.
That they can't hear. Please check it up whether your device is unmuted. From our side, Bindu, please check whether our device is working properly, and others please see that their device is working properly. Okay.
Yeah, it is that if only a few of them had complained that they had a problem in hearing you. So now they said that they can hear you properly because I am responding to all
Maybe their connectivity problem or their device problem. But anyway, from your side, Bindu, you can check whether we have any problem. But from their side, they have to see that I got a message right now that she can hear well. Danya and Dr. Benham cannot hear. Dr. Benham cannot hear. Please.
I think.
Anyway, everyone can check their device. It depends on the device you are using. That many are messaging that they can hear properly. Maybe so. It's an individual problem. It's not a collective problem. Let's continue. So right now, I'm just taking for granted that you're all hearing me because one or two instrumental problems may be there. Right now, I presume that every institution, especially in our state and in our country, half of the syllabus has not been completed in the classroom as we usually do, and the teachers have been striving hard to teach them. Even in schools, some classes it has been happening, but in schools, most of the classes were over because school has an year system, whereas the colleges were having the semester system, which started a bit late this time. Okay, so now what we can have, I think the university instructions will come, so we cannot say definitely what is going to come. But many of the institutions, many of the universities inside the country are just going for only online teaching, and then examinations they have not decided yet whether they'll go for online and they'll go for offline exam. It's not decided because conducting the online examination, everybody's not prepared right now in this semester. Maybe in next semester we may have an advanced preparation by which we can have it. So that is the present condition. Many of the universities will resort to just online classes and they may go for the examination. For the universities in Kerala, especially all the engineering colleges mostly associated with the KTU affiliated engineering colleges, for them, the university instruction will come as to how the examination is to be conducted. And an instruction which came today, which was decided almost 2 weeks back, says that classes have to be held before the examinations. Regular classes have to be held. And I don't know whether this decision is yet to be changed. We are not sure. Anyway, let us wait for that. That is about the current semester. But from next semester means it will be also under the COVID attack period. Next semester may commence from August or September. And as per the UGC instructions, all the old classes have to start by around 1st of August, and the new classes can start by 1st of September. So in the next semester, every university will have a system by which, if the present control on containing the diseases are existing, maybe most of the universities will have to go for a system where some of the classes will have to be online and only limited classes, because if the COVID control systems are existing, the classes cannot accommodate the full students. So we may have to go for separated or differentiated or piecewise classes, which will require its own facilities, which every college is not ready right now. So next semester, we will have a definite plan, action plan, how the classes are going to be, how much of the classes can be online, whether the examinations will be online or offline, and if so, how the examinations can be conducted by splitting the class into different groups like that. That we can wait for. That is what I feel. University instruction will come. But one thing is sure, hereafter, even if the COVID is going away, much of the instruction will be going online. This is one impression I got from my alumni all over the world also, that hereafter, online instruction is going to be heavy compared to, so far online instruction has been there only in some of the Western universities, that too limited. No universities now having 100% online system. So that is going to change. Maybe in a due course, I expect within 5 to 10 years, maybe most of the universities will resort to online teaching, online learning, and online examination system. That's a change which we expect. That is what we see for the next thing. Next point is how it's going to affect the admission this year. How the institutions are going to have student admission this year. The first point is none of the colleges could even start the admission formalities because every academic year normally we have the entrance examinations. Most of the states in the country have got entrance examinations in April. In Kerala, it used to be mostly in third or fourth week of April. This time it couldn't happen. And now also we are not sure whether the entrance exam will be conducted, and if so, the date is there. Of course, announcements are coming in between, but no assurance that these dates are confirmed. This can be changed anytime based on the national. Even today, the NEET dates have been announced. I don't know whether the date will be stuck on to, because if there's a central government announcement that the date is changed, it can change. Anyway, we cannot uh, assure at this point of time whether there will be an entrance examination or not. But we have to believe 99% that there has to be an entrance examination, because the states are not prepared for an admission procedure without entrance examination. Maybe whether it's a computerized online examination or non-computerized online examination, these things will be revised based on the situation as and when it arises. So let us assume that there is going to be an entrance examination. And when is this entrance examination? Now we cannot have this entrance examination in May because school and +2 examinations are to happen. So if those examinations are over, the entrance examination possibility is either in June or July. If the entrance examination is in June or July, of course now presumptions have come from the government of India and state governments, but they are all liable to change based on situation which we have been seeing in the last 2 months. If at all these examinations are happening, it will be in June or July, and at the most in August, so that the fresh classes can start as instructed by UGC on 1st of September, or at the most delayed by 1 month. Then the next point is how much is going to be the demand for the engineering admissions this year. This is a concern for all. Concern for the institutions, concern for the teachers, and concern for the students also. One point which we have to understand is that the students who are joining the engineering degree course this year are to be placed 4 years later in 2024. 2024 is a period where Corona has no impact on the system, but will have impact on the minds of the people only. So the placement opportunities for the students who join now for engineering is not based on the placement opportunities now. The placement opportunities now in the first this 2 years will be quite dull, except in certain branches. But the placement opportunities in 2024 will be very high, because it's an uprising period, like a period after a war, or a period of reconstruction, or a period of rebuilding. So the demand for engineers in 2024 will be very high. This is one point to remember, which many people do forget. Another thing is, thousands of our students have been going abroad and to other states. For example, around 20% of the Kerala students have been going abroad or to outside states, even in the recent past. And earlier it used to be up to 30–40% level. That may comparatively come down, because in the period of COVID, people have realized that more than the comfort they get anywhere else in the world, it's a comfort they get in their own motherland, their own state, among their own people speaking their own mother tongue. That is much more important for life than going elsewhere. So the demand for the in-state admissions will be higher. Keralites taking admission in Kerala, Tamilians taking admission in Tamil Nadu. That system will be more at least for 2 years, this year and next year. Maybe after this COVID is gone, the mindset can still change. But this year it's going to happen. So the lack of demand in the admission because of the economic reasons may be offset by this phenomena. Why I'm saying lack of admission by economic reasons means the banks will be a bit hesitant to provide loans. The buying power of the people have gone down, especially in the state of Kerala. You know that we had a floating economy where the repatriates or whether the diaspora used to support the economy of the state as a whole. Out of the 17 lakhs of Keralites now working abroad, around 5 to 6 lakhs are registering for coming back to Kerala. It's an unprecedented occasion where they want to even quit the job and come back to their own motherland. this will have some slight economic impact immediately, because the buying power, the purchasing power of the people will be definitely impacted. And many of the engineering students in Kerala used to be supported by their parents or close relatives or neighbors who have been working in other countries, who, and because of the high conversion rates, their earning there used to be very high amount here in conversion, and that used to be a common thing which is happening in Kerala. So I feel the admission rate may almost remain the same, but a bit less. For example, in engineering in Kerala last year, we had around 20,000 plus admissions in our engineering colleges. Colleges also have come down a bit. Instead of 152 engineering colleges last time in KTU, right now only 140 or 139 are there taking admission. And I think some more may close down, maybe around 130 plus only will be there. But one thing is there, the demand for the admission in the regional locations where the candidate is there will be more compared to going away and staying in hostels. This is a phenomena which we may see this time, except in government or aided engineering colleges where the fees is almost nil, very marginal fees is there. In other colleges, we will have mostly students coming from nearby areas instead of students coming from faraway hostels. This is one thing. So another thing is now whether there is going to be a change in demand. There's a comment that NEET will happen around 27. Yes, I mentioned that. I mentioned that today NEET exam date was suggested, but it is only a tentative suggestion. Let us wait for. I just now got a message from a participant that 27th the NEET exam is going to be there in July. Anyway, let us wait. Some days between today and July 27, there's a lot of gap. Anything can change. That's what we are seeing. We are seeing a very fluid situation, very dynamic situation right now. So things can change. The next point is which branch will have more demand right now for engineering admission. This is a concern for the students who want to join. For example, many students are attending this session who are just now in the 12th standard. They'll be asking, most of the students normally ask which is the demanded branch. And as we know, the students join a course not based on their basic interest in computer science or electrical engineering or mechanical engineering. Truly speaking, they don't know anything about that branch before they join, except for some students who have got their parents or elders or close friends studying in these branches. So they just go by fancy attraction of what their friends say and what their relatives say, what their neighbors say. So it's advisable for them to have a study on the different branches. Maybe we can organize a program later, where experts can talk to you about each branch, what you study there. The point which I wanted to tell is which branch is more in demand right now. As I have told last year, the most demanded branch in engineering all over the country was computer science. Close to it was branches like mechanical and civil engineering. And almost the lower demand was for electrical engineering and such branches which have been traditionally highly in demand. Now, after this COVID, based on the discussion with some of our alumni working all over the world, people do focus that biomedical engineering is one area which is going to be highly in demand right now, because so many biomedical equipments will be required in the immediate. But I have got a doubt in that, because in this, maybe in the medium term, biomedical engineering will be heavily in demand. But after a period of 4 years, whether biomedical engineering will be highly in demand like this is a matter of dispute. So I feel that after 4 years, the most demanded branch will be still computer science. So maybe in the medium term, the biomedical engineering may go high. And agricultural engineering is one branch hereafter which is going to be very highly in demand. But again, there's a point. Agricultural engineering, there is no private agencies posting many of the agricultural engineering graduates. So in agricultural engineering, whether after 4 years there is going to be a heavy demand for appointment is still a matter of concern. But one thing is sure, electronics engineering is going to flourish. Over the last few years, electronics used to be around 3 or 4 or 5th in the lane of demand. But hereafter, consistently, the demand for electronics engineering is going to flourish, because we need a lot of gadgets. The lifestyle all over the world is going to change. We need a lot of electronic gadgets. You are feeling it right now. Anyone who is not even having a compatible electronic gadget is not even to learn from home right now. Take for example the simple case of Kerala. How many intelligent gadgets we need for even online study? We need roughly around 30 lakhs gadgets for online study. I don't know how many our children are having. Many are now buying Chinese products. Maybe in the events after the COVID, there is even a possibility that Chinese products may be banned by many countries for political reasons, because many of the countries to believe that Chinese are behind the spread of the corona. So that is a possibility. So electronics engineering is going to be highly in demand. Computer science demand will remain the same in the long run. For the students who are joining right now, the demand for the branches will be computer science and electronics, the heaviest demand after 4 years. Of course, biomedical will be in demand, but by the end of 4 years, maybe its demand will a bit subside. Then regarding civil engineering, yesterday I happened to listen to a very interesting talk by one of my alumni. He was saying that for India, heavy scope will be there for civil engineering, because in the COVID period, the construction will be at at a very slow pace. But now there is going to be heavy investment in India by companies who have right now invested in the Chinese continent. Companies which are working now in China want to shift to other places, and India is taken to be a stable democracy where people have got liberty to do. And for that reason, many of the big industries will be shifting to India. And in that case, industrial construction and industrial work and industrial maintenance is going to be a heavy area in India, where a lot of civil engineering will be required, and civil engineers in the design area, and as well as in civil engineers in the construction area and maintenance area will be required. So he is suggesting that civil engineering is going to have a boom after 2 years, not within 2 years, because in the next 6 months, civil engineering will be quite dull, because most of the civil engineers may even become jobless in the next 6 months, because no much construction is going to happen anywhere. Everywhere some control will be there on the logistics, on the movement of materials control will be there, the availability of materials control is going to be there. And right now, one more point I'll talk and I'll close this discussion. Somebody has posted a question. What about information technology? Information technology is a sister branch of computer science. So definitely all the demand which is associated with computer science, now the IT people are getting. Earlier, the IT people used to get less privilege than the CSC. There is a truth also behind it. IT people are better even in information technology, because they study a bit of more of hardware compared to IT people. IT people have been mostly on software area. So compared to IT, computer science will be always in more demand. But IT is also now so many software solutions are coming up, where the IT people can contribute much better than the computer science people. And so IT also may come up, but computer science is still above IT. That's what I feel. Now my preliminary presentation is over. Now it is somebody has put a question. I couldn't see it. What about aeronautical engineering and aerospace will have a downfall? Somebody is asking what about aeronautical engineering and aerospace, because for the next maybe around 5 to 6 years, the production and commissioning of air vehicles will be much less, because the international air travel will go down. Even the domestic air travel will go down because of the reason I explained earlier. So for the students who joined right now, after 4 years, still the demand for aerospace and aeronautical will be much less. And almost all the big Airbus companies have reduced their production to 10%. And electrical and electronics engineering, triply, there's a question, what about triply? Electrical and electronics engineering is definitely, electrical and electronics engineering students do have a facility for going for higher studies, either in computer science or in electronics engineering. Compared to electrical and electronics and communication and computer science will be more in demand right now. And moreover, heavy equipment commissioning, whether heavy equipment companies and automobile companies are coming, electrical also will have a role in it, because now automobiles are basically based on mechatronics, a part of which is electronics and electrical. So electrical will have only a slight improvement, I feel, not much compared to electronics and computer science. And there is another question. We can have, I think we can unmute and we can listen to questions so that others also, I am now getting messages as questions.
Okay.
Bindu, please unmute.
Sure, I'll unmute
Please
all of them.
Right. I ask the questions so others also can listen to it.
Unmuting, for unmuting, you just press the space button.
Uh,
That is sufficient. Press the space button.
I have unmuted all the participants. Now you have to unmute yourself from your system.
Do you please send a message? They can even, I think they can hear me out.
They
All
cannot
the
hear me.
participants, please unmute. If you are using a mobile, just touch the screen. Then below left corner, you will see an unmute option.
And in
If you are
case,
using a laptop, you can click it and see the unmute button on it.
and if you find any difficulty in unmuting yourself, please type in the question on the chat box so that their question is answered.
There is a suggestion coming from one of the participants that if everybody is orally asking, the sound disturbance will be much. Why can't they ask in written form? But at least for 10 minutes, we can have an open discussion. Thereafter, we can mute again and have.
So by the time they ask questions, there are a few questions on the chat box. So can you answer them?
Yeah, let me see what are the questions in the chat box. I'll see. I'll start answering it. Let me see the chat box.
Okay, one question is, please provide more talk on the topic of how colleges and universities are going to teach
Yeah, don't worry,
their
don't worry.
students.
I have taken the chat box. I'm
Okay,
reading
okay.
the
Yeah.
questions one by one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so others also can post in the chat box. I'm seeing first question I have answered. What about today? Now the next question is what we say is mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering, as I told, if many of the global companies are coming to India, they will be mostly production oriented.
ഒരുപാട് ആളുകൾക്ക് എക്സാം സബ്മിറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടും സ്കോർ 0 എന്ന് കാണിക്കണം.
ഇതാണെന്നറിയോ ഇതിപ്പോ ഞാൻ നമ്മളങ്ങനെ പല ഈ ഗേറ്റ് എക്സാം അല്ല എങ്ങനെയാ വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ
I think now,
സേവ് എന്ന് പറയണം നമ്മൾ
if you can mute everyone, I'll answer this one by one.
Okay, sir. I'll mute everyone then.
ഓരോ ദിവസം സേവ് കൊണ്ടേ
Right. Because private talk is
പരീക്ഷ
one question is, sir, what will be the scenario of mechanical engineering? I feel that mechanical engineering also will have the same profile for civil engineering, because many of the industries, even now, over 100 industries have closed in China and they want to shift over to. But Indian share right now is not that high, but we expect more share in India. In that case, the flourishing which we anticipate for the civil engineering will have there for mechanical engineering. But only thing is, it may not be immediate. It may take 1 or 2 years. Then another question is, what about fresh placement of upcoming students? Right now, this year, the placement will be very low. These final years are somewhat an unlucky batch, because the placement will be very low this year. Maybe they will have to wait for 6 months or 1 year to get some suitable placements. Then, then another thing is, at a time, many will be asking the question, that will be a disturbance. Okay. The next one. Please provide more talks on the topic of how colleges and universities are going to teach and assess their students. I think this I finished in the first part. Maybe you would have not heard. I told that the colleges and universities will be partly shifting on to the online mechanism by the end of this semester. Maybe in the next semester, every university and every educational institution in the country will have mostly online education as a part of the regular education. What percentage we cannot decide right now. So I think from so many colleges, teachers and principals or directors are there in this group. I advise them to have an audiovisual room in your college, in your institution, which can make very good quality materials, recording material. Now some of the universities are having audiovisual studios with them. Now each college should have one. In my own college also, I am suggesting one immediately, because you will have to make a lot of materials which you have to audio, video recorded materials which you may have to send to the students for study purpose. And also you have to advise all your students to have a very good gadget, either a good mobile and or a good laptop. And I have requested some of the government agencies to ask the data providers like Geo, for example, to subsidize the data for the college students and school students. I don't know whether it is accepted or not, but governments can insist that, like what we give concession to buses and all for students, government should insist that concession is being given to students for data and internet. Otherwise, it's difficult. Say, for example, if they listen to 3 or 4 hours of such talks or classes or discussions, they should pay for a higher data usage. So if it is not subsidized, it's difficult. Then another thing is, let me send the next question. Sir, I am a student who is soon going to join a college. Which course do you recommend for a good future? I think I've been talking about that. I don't know whether you listened. If you are, there are two types of students. One type of student who want a job after the studies. They just want exclusively a job. For a job they study. There is another group of students who study out of interest in certain subjects, and which they want to see, they want to go for research, or they want to go for higher studies, like that. So if you are a person interested in job, I think the best opportunity by the time you just pass out will be in electronics and computer science and civil and mechanical. That's what I feel, going by the present scenario. And of course, biomedical also I have told, and agricultural engineering also I have told. And of course, we have got nearly 50 branches being offered all over India. Other branches also have got limited admissions in countries. So those branches which are having less students, you are seeing that they are having some good job opportunities in the years to come. And moreover, now most of the software companies are not concerned about which branch you are studying. They see your basic IQ and your basic communication skills, and whether you have got a basic engineering degree. That's enough. 90% of the software companies are concerned about this only. They are not concerned about the other branches or which branch you hail from. That's why only very few companies do go for specific computer science candidates, or specifically IT candidates, or specifically. And of course, the core sector appointment is very less nowadays for mechanical, civil, etc. Because in the core sector, engineers are less needed now. But those candidates also do go for software jobs now. Most of the, you see, any institution in the country all over India, even the national institutions like IITs and NITs, almost all the appointments are from software companies or software related companies. Core industries, even if they have some 1 or 2 vacancies, they prefer to take experienced candidates. So for a fresher, mostly the software companies are offering the asylum. How will be the lab sessions be conducted? It may not be possible to have the same online. That is our present condition. Lab sessions we cannot have online right now, but simulation softwares can do it online. So what I feel is in 1 or 2 years, so many laboratory simulation packages will be coming. Even now there are some software like MATLAB, etc., which do give some simulation packages. But hereafter, what I presume is the simulation software will be much more used. And after the study of the simulation software, maybe one day the student will come to the college and not with a specific schedule or timetable. They'll just see and believe themselves that whatever they have seen in the simulation software can be run real time in the colleges. This may happen. So most of the college laboratories are going to be something like a demo lab in the future, so that the simulation softwares will teach them, and they come prepared to see that demo in the lab. That's what I presume. Then I think now onwards, many colleges will have to step up more computational facility and high internet connectivity. That is already there in most of the colleges. In engineering colleges, IIT has insisted that you should have 100 MB uninterrupted leased line facility. So that is enough to cater to the colleges. And now computers also, now every college is having access, because earlier IIT used to have a proportion for 1:2 and 1:4 and 1:1 for computers. Now it is almost 1:6 reduced. So those access computers are already there, but maybe a new version, some new hardware will have to be acquired, some new systems have to be acquired for maybe graphics related use and advanced usage that is required, or for installing advanced software. And probably for some lab sessions, augmented reality or virtual lab or e-lab may be okay. Yes, that I told already, because e-lab or the simulated lab, virtual lab, it's going to come. 90% of the requirements can be done there. 10% they'll have to come and physically witness themselves. For example, before the engineering degrees were common in India, we used to have an AMI where only after studying all the theory purposes, candidate used to come to the engineering colleges and see the experiments themselves. We used to have so many such engineers in this country. Then probably for some lab sessions, augmented reality or virtual lab or e-lab may be okay. I think within 5 or 6 years, the 3D projection techniques will be available in the televisions across the country. 3D projection technique means by projecting the 3D images, you can see the reality in a formless stage inside your room, and that means you can see the laboratory experiments projected inside your halls within 5 or 6 years. If one person is doing an experiment, the others can witness as if they are in the laboratory. So that facility is going to come. 3D facility has been tested widely in Japan right now. It may come to our state also. Then another thing is, our college principal has already asked final and pre-final year students to start preparing for GATE or GRE. I think GATE or GRE, I request some good entrepreneurs to start right now, because there is an exam called NEET. NEET exam is for UG NEET as well as PG NEET. For both these, so many organizations across the country have come up. They provide online training for the NEET. For example, when my son joined for his MD, he attended the 1-year training online only, not in classroom. So this online training has become now very, very common in that area. So I feel some entrepreneurs should come up with GATE training and GRE training and TOEFL training, all these trainings online. And even now, there is a scope for starting immediately the team training online, because now so many sessions are there. I don't know whether Mr. Shaji is there in this session. Nucleus is in the session?
No, sir, he's not here.
No, he's not there. Okay. So even such training centers who are offering classroom training for entrance exam, they can go for online training for NEET as well as for KEAM as well as for KMAT. All this we can have right now. Online will definitely flourish. Then another question, this is a funny question. Sir, is it better for teachers to move on to online teaching methods? I think 1 week back, I have sent a recorded video. I don't know whether you have seen it. I have specifically mentioned that online teaching methods are going to take over the traditional teaching methods. So all the teachers with good capacity. That's why I told you should have a recording room in your college. So most of the teachers should be trained in preparing very good quality online materials. If you prepare an online material, maybe it's uploaded on YouTube, or so many such platforms will come. Remember, like Facebook or YouTube or Moodle or something, so many platforms will come in the next 1 year. So you will be able to upload all these things almost free. You don't have to pay. Nowadays, people ask for paying somewhere. But even now, most of the platforms are free, and they will make the income out of advertisement. You can post free. So all the teachers who are having some good capacity, good quality, should become online teachers. And you choose a platform. Also, don't cling on to a single platform. Say, for example, you are teaching with the Google Classroom today or some other platform. Don't think that that's the end of the world. Change over to the new ones, because every time we see that the new platform which is coming up will have better facility. That's why Microsoft had to change its those versions umpteen number of times. Move on to the new ones. Then another question is, I just ended 12th and I took bioscience. So which is better? Bioscience, of course. Bioscience is a biological stream, that's medical stream. And now the most respected people are the medical people. And now in most of the states, the medical people are given the police rank in most of the states. And you know that the Pandemic Act, the Endemic Act, which has come recently from the government of India, is empowering so many. If somebody is attacking a medical hand, a doctor or a nurse, the person will be put in jail for 7 years. That's a new act. So now the medical hands will have very high reputation hereafter. Only thing is, even after the pandemic is over, your value is not going to down. So I think bioscience student can go for not only medic, even paramedics like pharmacy, then MLT, then optometry. All these things have its own. We have got these institutions in our own campus where the demand for these courses are very high. So people have understood its demand for this paramedical courses. Definitely, medical course, there was a saying that the number of doctors in the country are very high. But now when the pandemic came, the status release says that we have got very less doctors in the country. So we need much more. Then another person asks, what about students who were planning to go for abroad higher studies? I request you not to go. Abroad, of course, the academic standards in the US and the Europe were much higher than what we have in India. But now we are realizing that their ethical standards are much less. If you come across some problems, you are let alone. The thousands of Indians, especially Keralites who are stranded there, they are feeling they're let alone in an island. So in the future, you have two options, whether you want to be alone and you want to face what is going on. And also, if you are not going to work there, a foreign degree is not of much of use to you. If you are working in India, only some national reputed institutions insist that you should have some foreign qualifications. So for an ordinary job, an international degree is not very essential here. But I'm not objecting to it. But remember, the scholarships in the US universities and UK, yesterday I happened to listen a talk by some of the vice chancellors in UK universities. They were saying that they'll cut down 90% of the scholarships they are going to offer to foreign students. The same thing will happen even in USA, I feel. So doing a degree there is very costly unless you are doing it with their scholarship. And if they are going to cut the scholarship, for a degree course for which you have to spend, say, 2 or 3 lakhs rupees here, you will have spent 30, 40 lakhs rupees there. And then what's the advantage? You cannot stay over there because the present conditions, the visa norms will be very, very stringent in almost all the countries. So at this point of time, I don't advise you to go abroad. Maybe when the situations will be better, maybe after 2 or 3 years, we can think of it. Next question is, even government says we are free from COVID at some time, how confident parents will be to send the students to college? We are never free from COVID for the next 2 years, I feel. COVID can be free only if a medicine is invented. It can cure all the patients in the world and there is no new reported case. The same thing which happened with smallpox. Even when one person was identified with smallpox, smallpox couldn't be declared as over. So this is not going to happen immediately because, COVID is perpetuated by an RNA type virus, and RNA type virus is comparatively difficult to cure compared to DNA type virus. So it will take its own time. I don't say that COVID will not go, but COVID may take, in my personal estimate, it may take at least 2 years. But maybe I discussed this matter with my son also, who is a medical hand, and they are also of the same opinion. Hey, let us see whether some vaccine definitely will take, even developing a vaccine will take around 1.5 years. So medicine only is the cure right now. So don't believe that COVID is gone. But I feel that we are delaying the COVID as a pandemic in country because of the lockdown. Even then, COVID is not gone. We'll have to live with it. Then another question is, how can we assure that students are really using the online classes effectively? Because based on the class assignments, we have to give them internals. So how is it possible? This is a question where the students have to realize themselves. I always used to ask the students, for whom the teachers teach? The teachers are being paid for what job they do. They are not being paid for what the result the student makes. They are not being paid for how much time the students to study. The students will understand it. Also, I feel that every year, the students are becoming more and more responsible. Parents may say that children are irresponsible. No, I've been seeing this academic system for the last half a century, and I've seen that every year, the students are becoming more and more responsible only. Don't blame the students like that. So they will understand. They'll realize that it's for them. And of course, when you go for an interview, your marks won't count that much. Your performance do count. And if you have to perform, you should have a background. That background comes only by learning. Not only the classroom learning, it has to be an incessant learning. Only by continuous learning, people can update themselves. Another question, if students are taking class from home, then like admission paying the fees from student is also a concern. Fees paid by students is also based on the infrastructure, etc. Then the infrastructural concept will change. Say, for example, for some of the symbol examinations like TOEFL and etc., people are paying tens of thousands of rupees. Why? It's not based on infrastructure on. It's based on the level of the exam and what for it is useful. So based on the level of the exam, based on how the institution, say for example, for the NEET training, they charge around 30 to 40,000 rupees. Why people say the infrastructure is not there, but the class quality is that good. They have got audio video materials which are good enough for the students to listen, to see and understand. And most of the learning, of course, laptop and mobile. Mobile, I think, will take over the laptop. Maybe a bigger size mobile, like a tab type mobile, may take over the laptop because people want to carry with them information everywhere. And just like carrying the textbooks, they want to carry the mobile plus the laptop combined system. So that will be more popular. Right now, instead of the mobile, I think a bigger mobile may be very popular right now, which we can call as a tab also. So your fees will be dependent on what's the quality of the material that institution provides. Within 1 or 2 years, the institutions will be labeled based on their standard. Now, how you label the MIT or HBA based on their standard, how you say HBA is the best business school in the world or MIT is the best engineering college in the world, they have got a history. They have got a track record, right? That each institution will have a track record within, so far they have track record of maybe classroom, but soon they'll have a track record of online classes also. What about assessment, sir? Will there be general agreement for the assessment framework for engineering graduates? Yes. Okay, so what I'm saying is so many questions are coming up. I have no difficulty in answering this. If one more session is to be taken, like after 8 minutes, this will be broken again. So those who want to listen again can rejoin. That's no compulsion, because those who have put the question, they would like to hear the answer. So we are not very particular that everybody should stay back after the next break. But those who want to listen to the answers, or at the end, even we can unmute everybody and have an open discussion also. I have no objection. We have muted now because people were saying that they want to listen to what I'm saying. And that's why we muted. Let us see. After 8 minutes, if it is broken again, you can rejoin those who want to listen further. Okay. Now let me see the next question. What about assessments? Will there be a general agreement? I feel that soon UGC or some other authentic body of MHRD will come up with a national assessment portal. That's what I believe, because a portal which is safe, a portal which is reliable, a portal which is government controlled, or even if it's a private portal, some authentic portal like some of the portals in the West which are highly authentic, they will come up with a portal. So the evaluation, and there will be two types of evaluation: real-time evaluation and indirect evaluation, which is based on downloading the material and then giving the answers. I think real-time evaluation will become more popular because you cannot do any malpractice there. And maybe sometimes in the Indian conditions, the evaluating agency may insist that there should be a camera also in front of your device. That's possible. So they should see what you're doing, and one-to-one people may be assigned. Okay. Then another question is, also for grading, what is the system? Now UGC has got a 4-point grading. I think that grading system can be even the same, or if it is online, that is not going to be a big issue. Grading system you can nationalize. Even now UGC has given some strict guidelines for grading system. It can continue. But anyway, these things will be discussed at the MHRD level, and they'll give us some suggestions. We are getting a lot of information from UGC about the things they are doing. And post-COVID, all these mechanisms are here. They'll define, they'll decide what further to do, and they'll come up with new suggestion, and we don't have to worry. Because when the country and the world is facing such a situation, all the decision makers are aware of it. So new systems will come. Okay, then another thing is, many colleges have different assessments in a semester. Will it be reduced substantially? That will depend on the regulatory bodies. Now these assessments are based on the university's decision. You know, in India, we have got 3 types of universities: the government universities, the private universities, and the deemed to be universities. And now a 4th system also has come, de novo universities for new branches. In all these cases, the universities have got the freedom to make the assessment. So the universities have to decide. And of course, one more thing is, when it becomes all online, maybe a comparison among the universities may be more popular. So each of the universities, like now AICT is issuing guidelines for the engineering colleges to follow a uniform pattern. Maybe the universities also will come to a uniform pattern, but Universities are really independent. Even a private university is having its own independence as per the UGC Act. But let us say things will change gradually. Sir, will the work from home practice get adopted for more in the coming years? Definitely. Yesterday I was seeing a presentation by HP, where the HP's official are saying that right now 75% of their workers they have made on work from home. Only 25% are working in the offices. And in the long run, HP is saying that everybody can learn from them, so that most of the companies, even in the beginning, Microsoft has been by Bill Gates initially never invested in buildings. He was telling the workers, you go home and work. They used to assign time limits. That's going to happen right now. Most of the companies will start with work from home, and companies will be interested in your outcome, not your working hours. And for that, I think the pay also hereafter may get modified. Instead of pay for a month, pay for a week, or pay for working hours, I think in the near future, the pay will be worked on projects. You take up a project, this is the pay, and this is the time limit. And if the time is exceeded, this is the penalty, like that. Okay. Then another question is, how important is NBA accreditation for a college? NBA accreditation, I'm not going to discuss right now because it takes a lot of time to explain. I think I'll conduct a session on NBA accreditation and NAC accreditation together online. Bindu, please note down, we will have a session on NBA and NAC accreditation online.
Okay, sir.
Maybe a longer session, because NBA is something which I have to, even to introduce it, I may take a lot of time. Moreover, it's not to the target which we have focused on this today's talk. NBA I'll talk later. Another session you can register then. And what about deemed university? Deemed university, of course, deemed university has nothing different from the other universities. Whatever the universities in the country will follow, deemed universities will follow. One thing is there are two types of deemed universities, the government and the private. For example, the IITs, the NIITs, IIMs are all deemed universities, whereas we have got a lot of private universities, deemed category. Each deemed university is having its own system. So, but they have to adapt to the world, and the world is changing with the online examinations, online classes, etc. And actually, even now the IITs are also closed. That's one point which we have to see. Even the IIT students are not fully equipped to have online classes right now. I'm having an IIT working in my own campus. It is closed for the last, Palakkad IIT is in my campus, which is closed for the last 2 months. So they also have to equip themselves. Then another thing is, another question, as per your discussion about the online classes and other facilities needed, I assume there will be a huge loss will be facing by the many current private self-financing colleges. If such happens, as you said earlier, many may not survive, even lead to shutdown. If it happens, what will be the future of the ongoing students and faculty? That is a pathetic situation. Many of the colleges will shut down. I cannot say exactly how many, but many will shut down definitely, because when online registration, online classes becomes the norm of the day, naturally, even by paying a bit higher, students may opt for a better university or a better institution. So that is a fate. So we have to find alternative. So when one way doesn't work, we should find another way by which we can utilize those facilities. Even you see, in the last 5 years, around 22 engineering colleges have closed down in our state. So they are closing down, and more than 70 engineering colleges have closed down in Tamil Nadu. More than 100 engineering colleges have closed down in the S2L Andhra Pradesh. So this is happening. So we will have to divert. That is the acumen required from an investor. When you see that something is not working, divert your resources to something else. Of course, I have a request to the teachers also. In the coming years, the more powerful and the more knowledgeable and the more effective teachers will survive. Teaching as a profession will not survive. Teaching as a passion only will survive. So the teachers will have to be very careful. So I think all the questions which came to me are over. Now, Bindu, you can unmute. If anybody wants to ask anything directly, they can have.